Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and we've got a very cool unbox and review for you today. At the moment, Punga have gone live with their Elven Kickstarter. It is called Black Sail Corsairs. There are a Dark Elf team called the Black Sail Corsairs, but there's also the Celestial Comets, which is this outrageously beautiful High Elf team. So we're going to have a quick look at the Kickstarter and then a very detailed long look at the models themselves. Okay, so the Kickstarter is live now. We're only going to be looking at the High Elf team today. The Dark Elf video is already done and out, so that if you're looking for a Dark Elf team, you've got the right video. If you're looking for a High Elf team, then you are here. Welcome. This is the video. So the Kickstarter is live at the moment, and as the time of filming, you've got 14 days to go. It closes on the 28th of November. They've crushed their target. They've crushed their goal. This is Punga Kickstarter. It was always going to succeed, but I don't think any of us were expecting it to succeed this hard. We saw the spoilers of the Dark Elf models, and then they absolutely crushed it with the High Elf models. Now, I'm a massive High Elf fan of the olden age, Warhammer for 3rd edition, kind of, but 4th edition, really. 4th through 7th, I was a massive High Elf fan, and they have captured the Warhammer fantasy aesthetic just perfectly. So Kickstarter wise, there's a couple of different reward levels you want. The first is $5, which is your add-on access. So if you just want a couple of star players, or because there's some really nice looking star players in this, you can pick them up. But £72 is going to get you the team. Now with postage, you're probably looking about 80 to £85 UK or $100 US all in. But that is going to come with no Ben, we want the Celestial Champions, sorry, not the Comets. 2 High Elf Blitzers, 2 Throwers, 4 Catchers, and 8 Linemen. And that is all of them with individual sculpts. Now, the important thing here for a High Elf team, you do need a lot of linemen to start with. You normally only end up with, I don't know, maybe 4, 5 positionals. The fact this comes with 8 linemen means that you are good to go for a 1 million build. There's a couple of different ones to go with. You want to have both your blitzers, and then you kind of want either a catcher or a thrower at this point. And then 8 linemen. Done and dusted. Now, we're going to skip past the Dark Elf team, but I do want to point out that they are outrageously lovely models, and it's a very nice team. We're going to scroll all the way down to the High Elf team instead, the Celestial Champions, because they look so High Elf. When you think about High Elves, you think of shining silver helmets, shining silver breastplates. You've got the Silver Helm Cavalry, you've got the Dragon Lord dudes, the Dragon Prince Cavalry, and this just gets it. You've got cheek guards, you've got the sapphires, you've got the wings, you've got the dragon bits, and you've got the high plumage on the helmets. It's just perfect. I don't know what they could have done to capture that High Elf aesthetic even more, and this is just the perfect team for a High Elf coach. Look at it, just this one lineman here. We'll scroll down and get a better look at the lineman, because that is just the most High Elf. This is just High Elf. This guy or this guy could both be on a Tyrannok chariot. They could just be chilling with a spear, with a bow, and they would look straight out of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. They've got even some scale mail, which really kind of fits into the aesthetic too, and it's just phenomenal. Anyway, I'm done gushing over how great High Elves are. Let's have a look at how great the models are. So 2 Blitzers in this kit, and they've got the dragon helmet motifs. I love Dragon Princes, and this works out too. Each of the shoulder guards, you've got that dragon motif to differentiate them as stars, and because they are your star players, because they are the Blitzers here, one of them is posing as if he was a High Elf star player, and the other one is just one of the best looking Blitzer models ever. That extra bit of face mask, just so cool, and I think that's the one we've grabbed to build, because why would you not build it? Then we've got a myriad of High Elf catchers, and this is where it comes just really well. The catchers are less armoured than the standard linemen. So when it comes to the legs, there's less armour. There's less armour on the forearms. It just works really well, but they've carried over the elven aesthetic with the cheekbone armour, with just every single piece of it, down to like the crotch tabards as well. It's phenomenal. And you've got the belts with the sapphires. It's just so high elf. Now the great thing about the catches is they've got the high breastplates instead of the full breastplates, so you've got that kind of midriff cloth element that really does identify them as the archers of this army, and just makes a lot of sense. They look faster, they look less armored, they still look mighty elven. And then you've got some really dynamic female poses as well, which I think is brilliant. I love that Punga are just mixing stuff up because it's Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is about playing good Blood Bowl, and it doesn't really matter what kind of species or gender you are. If you can play good Blood Bowl, you're going to be on Nuffle's pitch. And I like the mix here. When you've got the line people, you've got a good mix there as well. All the poses are great, and the fact is that there are 8 different poses of linemen. And that's just awesome. Having, like, differentiation of every single player is an absolute treat. And when it comes to these third-party teams that do that, it's just lovely, because any one of these models, literally any of them, you could paint them up and have them be your star player. And this is what's so cool about this team, is this guy in the middle here looks like a lineman, fair enough, but you take him and you put him on the pitch with another team, or you just take him and paint him really nicely, he becomes a star player. Either one of these crouching guys becomes a star player. Every single one of these sculpts is a star player. And then you put them together and you've got a star team. And here we go, talking about stars. The high elf thrower. Alright, he may not be one of the best throwers in the game, but I think from a technical point of view with his skill set, he might be the statistically best thrower in the game, or at least the safest thrower in the game. And you've got 2 great poses here. High elves tend to only run 1 thrower most of the time, but at least you've got 2 different sculpts, so you can pick and choose your absolute favourite. It's this guy. This guy's amazing. This guy's very cool, but this guy's just got that. I'm going to Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary pass it into the end zone. Back when the Packers used to win football games. But look at the models. Okay, they've done this really cool thing where they've got like a render and they've added some coloration to it to kind of give you an idea. Really good way around actually just getting these to pop without having to wait for an artist to paint them up. And then you've got some physical representations of the models. And that's where we come in, because we've got some of those as well. Now, there's stretch goals. There's always stretch goals. Check it out. There's a ton of stuff, but there's cool add-ons too. You've got the Kraken star player. You've got a bunch of Dark Elf star players as well, including a set of brilliant witches. We've built these. They are absolutely awesome models. And the reason I'm calling this out is because if you have still got time to back the Kickstarter, all of these star players and add-ons are $8. If you need some star players for your elf team, this is the best time to do it. 1 star player from Forge World, $30 probably. So 4 of these for the price of 1 Forge World star player. And you've got some cool stuff there, including the band and a Manticore. And you've got the Swift Twins. You've got Prince Moranion, which is a model I absolutely need. And you've got the Kicker, you've got Jordil Fresh Breeze, and you've even got some cool standard star players too. So actually Punga have done a really good job of sharing everything on here. And Kickstarter value, brilliant. If you're joining after the Kickstarter's done, the team is just amazing. But that is it for the Kickstarter bit. Let's have a look at the models. Okay, so these models are actually resin cast. From looking through the Kickstarter, it says that they've already started producing the models. It says they've already printed the models and production's underway, but they are actually resin cast, which is brilliant because Punga have a very well-earned reputation for resin production. Anybody who's seen any of their previous Kickstarter teams, from the Pirates up to the last set with the Norse and stuff, the models are produced beautifully. Spoiler alert, so are these. Now, one thing to kind of catch out is that they are all in several pieces. So they're in quite a few pieces, each and every one of these models. You may be thinking, that's annoying. It really isn't, because, and hopefully you can see this on the camera, because the quality of prep and production is outrageous. I've built some of the Dark Elf ones already, and they took literally 0 preparation. And we're going to look at this model here, and even though it's in 6 pieces, 4, 5, 6, this will take no time to prepare, and they've got a really clever system with the plugs. So you can see, if I twiddle this guy around here, you can see that it's kind of cut away like a semicircle or like a semi-triangle. Now what that will do is that will plug into the corresponding plug, and they are crisp. They are seriously crisp, so that when it comes to actually building this model, you take the piece and it just fits in brilliantly. So even though they are resin models, and with a resin model you should probably wash it, I mean, I've built some of the Dark Elves, and even touching this one, resin models tend to have release agent on there. This does not feel greasy in any way, shape or form, but it is my duty to say with resin, it is best to give it a bit of a wash. Now these are small pieces, so you want to be careful if you do that. You can build it first, then wash it. I had no problem gluing them together with super glue for resin, but I mean, it's just so well prepped. Let's build this guy. Okay, so we've built our high elf thrower now, and like we said, it comes in multiple pieces. Now these are resin models, so you might want to wash them before you build them, as they come in small pieces. That can be a bit tricky. Honestly though, as I'm building these guys, there's no residue that I can feel on my fingers. Now when it comes to priming, it may be slightly different, but as you just saw from the video, they are beautifully cast, like so swish, that actually the model went together with hardly any difficulty at all, because you've got those shaped plugs and things, and the very miniature overt people out there, so you know, like our commission painters and things like that, you might want to do a little bit of scraping to get slightly better fits. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap there around his belly, but honestly, once you've primed it, you're not going to notice. And as far as regular models go, the crispness of the sculpt more than makes up for any kind of little tiny gaps from having quite a few pieces. And the way the pieces go together, it takes away all the fear. Opening up a box and seeing a model in 7-8 pieces is a bit like, ooh. But actually, because they're clean, ready to go, they're all cast beautifully. It's like Lego with glue. Super impressed. And I really love this sculpt. So let's do a size comparison. I have not got the Games Workshop High Elf team yet, because it isn't released or previewed, or may never even come. What we do have is a Dark Elf player, and you can see if we line up the players, the sculpture and the scale is just bang on. So this guy actually looks like he's a little bit taller than the Dark Elf. I know the Dark Elf's kind of crouching. This guy's kind of crouching as well, so he's got a bit of height on him, which makes a lot of sense given that it's got, you know, he's got a big old helmet on there as well. And actually I think it's fine. The most important thing is there's nothing there from a mass point of view. There's nothing there from a composition point of view, or that kind of, the scaling of each of the different body parts is perfectly lined to Games Workshop's. So really impressed with that. That's the thrower. We've built a few more models as well. Don't worry, I'm not going to do the whole slow-mo or speed up thing. We've got one of the best ones in this kit. Now, Punga have previewed some Lion Warriors of Cray Splitzers. We don't have them, but they look just beautiful. So excited for those, but we don't have hold of those. But we do have what is basically a Dragon Prince, right? This is a Dragon Prince Blitzer. You've got all the kind of fluting on the armor, you've got the dragon wings on the helmet, and again, we'll grab our Dark Elf player here to be a nice scale comparison. And the proportions are bang on. Now, he's got a nice little mounting piece on his base there, which means he's not just glued on by a foot or anything like that, which I appreciate massively. He is running. We've got the classic Games Workshop pose of 1 point of contact on the base, but they've done a good job by providing a decent bit of size there. Now, scale-wise to the model, if you crouch him down, actually, he's a bit smaller than the Dark Elf. If you put his feet on there, he's a little bit bigger than the Dark Elf. It's the perfect scale. This just works really, really, really nicely. The scale, the proportions are exactly what you want from Games Workshops, but the sculpts and the production are just better. Next up, we've got a Line Elf here. This piece came in the legs, the body, the 2 arms, the head, and the horsehair plume. But again, all the plugs are just really nicely done. I do recommend just grabbing your your clippers and stuff, and just having a bit of a scrape to make sure and do a bit of dry fitting. But because you're not cutting them off sprues, because you're not kind of having to scrape away mold lines and prep the model in any way, shape or form other than just tidying up the joins, you don't lose any time, and it's not a massive pressure to you. So we've got the lineman here, and we've got one of the catchers here. Now, the catchers are very dynamic pieces, and I've chosen one of the running ones. Now, this one is going to have a small point of contact to the base, but I mean, it's really not. I'm really fine with it because actually it's worth it. If you look at this model and the lineman on the right, you can see that there are basically, no, not basically, there are actually zero mold lines anywhere on these models, which is the most phenomenal piece about this entire kit. I mean, I know they come in little pieces and you have to clip them. Well, you don't have to clip them, you just have to dry fit them and make sure they're going okay. Oh, I didn't dry fit the body there, and I think I might have glued it a bit skew-if. Anyway, that's on me. I'm really impressed. They plug and play just beautifully. Let's do a lineman comparison. So we've got the High Elf here. We're going to grab the Games Workshop Dark Elf as well. And it's perfect. The size is perfect. This is the High Elf team of dreams. I'm really impressed with the sculpting. I love the style, I love the pose, I love the stoic High Elf face. You've got the classic High Elf helmet there. And as we've seen with all these models, the proportions are exactly in line with the Games Workshop models there. And we will do the same with the runner, because actually we've got this one is a little bit slighter, but actually proportions wise, let's put it in the middle of the camera there, Ben, lines up really nicely with the Games Workshop pieces. There are a ton of great sculpts in this kit, and I'm super impressed. There you have it, Punga's High Elf team. So the Kickstarter is ongoing. Then there'll be a few months, I imagine, where you can't get hold of it, and then it'll be on their site. Now, if you've got a chance to back the Kickstarter, I really do recommend it. The team is beautifully cast and beautifully produced. The sculpts are insanely High Elf, and I'm absolutely blown away. They've got a bunch of cool star players and things like that. If you haven't seen the Dark Elf team, absolutely go and look at our video for that as well. They've got some very, very, very lovely sculpts for the Dark Elves too. But I'm a High Elf guy at heart, and I'm going to be honest, the linemen of this team they're just the best. Like, the blitzers are cool, the throwers are great, the catchers look speedy, and High Elves are very much that kind of team. But the linemen, they just look like your spearmen, like the archers, like the Lothern Sea Helms of old, and that makes me so happy. The armor's there, the agility's there, and of course the cone heads are there. So absolutely superb job by Punga here, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. Let me know what you think of the team in the comments below, and we'll be back again soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.